Hello and welcome back to Beyond the Suite, presented by the Salon Hub. I am your host, Steve Cassano, and Beyond the Suite is a podcast for Salon Suite owners so you can see the day in the life of what your peers are doing, and maybe you can make some changes to your own day-to-day life. Today, we have Natalie Jones on the podcast. She's an amazingly authentic and giving personality within the Salon Suite space. She owns her own salon outside of Philadelphia, and we get to talk to her about everything from how she built her book from scratch using just Instagram and literally finding people in grocery stores to how she prepped to make sure that she found success once she made her leap to going into her own suite to now that she's found success, incorporating ways that she can now give back to the community and give back to others through activities that involve her salon. With that, here is Natalie Jones. Well, no, seriously though, thank you for joining us today. I'm always excited to talk to you because you have one of the most, in my mind, genuine Instagram presences for someone who's performing at the level that you are with your own business. It's really inspiring, I think, for me to watch you not only share like your personal story, but the behind the scenes, and it's not just hair, it's you, your life, and your salon all kind of rolled into one, which is super different, I think, than a lot of other people try to go down, or at least they try to do it and they keep it, at least at an arm's reach away. They don't let them all the way in. It feels like you let people almost all the way in. Is that intentional, or is this just something you kind of fell into?
Yeah, so I intentionally have tried to be very authentic on my Instagram. If you look at it, I feel like you'll see things that are a little bit different than what you normally see on other people's Instagrams. Sometimes I'm like not sure if it's going to get a lot of likes. I feel like I've kind of tested what gets a lot of likes and then what is doesn't get a lot of likes. And I started to do some posts that were getting a lot of likes, quote unquote. I actually would get a lot of likes on my selfies. And I kind of took a step back and I was like, is that really what I want to share with the world? Is that what I want my brand to be? It's just like a picture of me and me getting my makeup on and my hair done. Like, yeah, that's part of my brand. But when I see pictures like that of other people, sometimes it makes me feel insecure. So when I post anything on my Instagram now, I always ask myself, like, is this going to add value to other people?
I love that. And you do such a good job about it because it's like this, again, for us, a lot of the time when we're coaching salon owners, it is, please include yourself in your story because you're the biggest difference maker that you can have within your own business. And then they do go after the very like, here's this curated brand version of me versus here's who I truly am. Or like when you walk into my salon, I may not have my hair done or I may not have makeup on. But on the Instagram side, that's all you're ever going to see. For you just let it all out, and I love it because it's so empowering. It's very to me, I think, again, if that was your intention, is to empower others and to make sure that they feel valued, or at least to the fact that you can help kind of cut someone off of starting to feel insecure, but they're down this path of maybe trying to find their own sense of confidence. I think you're a great role model for that because you do almost all your selfies now, right? Or anything that you're in, you do like a before and after, or there's some element of like very much of a natural version of Natalie Jones, which is really awesome.
Thank you.
My question though is, was that hard to do at first? Or was it just like, you know what, I'm just going for it and that's it?
These are such good questions because it really means a lot because I'm like, wow, like you're really honing in on all of the struggles I have gone through, putting myself out there.
Sorry. Sorry to
No,
pick you
no,
apart
no,
a
it's
little bit.
good. It's good. It's nice to like share it because it's a real thing. Yeah, it was easier to just be like more perfect on posting. I actually saw a YouTube video. This guy only had like 2,000 followers, and it was at the time when I was like, I kind of feel like this is like a little fake for me. And he was saying that he posted a video and Oprah actually ended up seeing it, and he only had 2,000 followers at the time. And he said that Oprah was looking specifically for the value that he was offering, and what he was posting was super authentic to him. And it just kind of made me take a little bit of the like followers and likes out of it and realized that like at the end of the day, I'm going to attract what is right for me by truly putting out who I am. Um,
I love that.
yeah. So when I first started posting like me without makeup or just I actually have some of my like health story on there and some parts of myself that I've been kind of hiding for a long time. And I would actually ask people like, should I post that? And they're like, I don't know, it's a little too deep or that's like very vulnerable of you to share. But when people come into my salon, like I share that part of myself with them. So, and that's what I feel like makes the connections that I have. So I basically just screen like, am I basically healed from this area that is kind of vulnerable for me? And if the answer is yes, then like I'm happy to share it. And then if the answer is no, I might take a little bit of a step back and wait to post that because I'm still kind of, if I were to get negative feedback on something, I just am not sure where I'd be at handling it.
Yeah. I mean, the internet, it's a great and terrible place all at once, right? As I'm sure we're all aware. Uh, so I think that makes a lot of sense also because, I mean, it's hard to process through things in public always, right? You kind of have to make sure you're on the right side of where you need to be and can handle maybe a challenge before you open that part up, especially when you're talking about vulnerabilities for sure. But before we get to like where this has taken you so far, I kind of want to step back a little bit and talk about, what got you started in the beauty industry as a whole. Did you start in high school? Did you start in college? Did you start after college? What does that first little intro into the beauty space look like for you?
So I decided at 6 years old I want to be a hairstylist. And
Nice.
I made the commitment.
I
So
love it.
I would always do people's nails and do people's hair growing up. And I actually like wrote down when I was 15, like I have like a whole um business written out for owning my own salon.
Wow.
So it was just something I kind of like knew. I wanted to be an actress.
Sure.
And people told me like that it was hard very young. So I was like, all right, the next best thing is a hairstylist. So I just like stuck to that.
Classic. I love it. Do you know? So wait, this 6-year-old business plan, did you have a name for your salon then? Do you know what it
I
was?
didn't have a name, but it was like
Okay.
it was all organic. It was like
Ooh, you
there
were
were like
well ahead of the trend then. Oh
yes,
my
I was.
goodness.
I was. Actually, and right now I actually don't have like all organic products and a lot of them like aren't that great, but I'm very into holistic health, but when it comes to products, I'm like, it's
Yeah.
okay. Well,
Yeah, you need to figure out what works, right?
yeah,
At the end of the day, for sure.
yeah.
Okay, so you wanted to be a hairstylist essentially, or an actress, 50-50, I would say, right? At 6. And then, so you get into high school. Are you going to trade school at that point? Are you looking to get are you going to school then, or did you wait to go to cosmetology school until after?
I went to go look at the trade program in high school and I was a little nervous about leaving like my core group of friends. I felt like they were like a really good influence to me and I was kind of like nervous to like leave my core group. So I was like, I'll finish out high school and then I'll go to beauty school afterwards. So I went to Jean Madeline in South Philly and that was for a whole year. And then that was right out of high school.
Okay, so you finish high school, go to G Madeline for a year, and then you're out into the world of salons, I'm
Yeah.
assuming?
Yep.
Apprenticing somewhere?
Yeah.
Still in Philly at that point? Or
Uh,
did you kind of meander?
so I commuted from the suburbs to Philly every day, which was super fun.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm
and then
sure.
yeah, yeah, it actually was fun. Like I actually meant
Okay.
that. Like everyone else was going to college, and I was like in the suburbs in the morning, and then I would like pop out on South Street. I was like, I feel so cool.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so you're in your first salon. How long are you there?
I was there for like 6.5 years.
Whoa. So you found like your spot right away, it seems like.
Yeah.
So is there like an apprentice program through there that you went through and then you became, like a main stylist eventually? Or like talk me through that first salon experience for you.
Yeah, so I went to Lords and Ladies growing up, and it was really awesome place to go. And I just kind of always knew that I wanted to work there because they had a program that you go through. I think it's like 4 months, and it's kind of a step above beauty school. So they teach you all of the intricacies of the next step of hairstyling between consultation, um, technical stuff on highlighting. Like you just learn the basics, and then you get to learn like the next level stuff there. So it's a very like controlled environment that felt really safe to kind of take then the next step.
hmm
And then they offered like specials. So I would do a haircut and highlight for like $65. And yeah,
Whoa.
yeah,
Inflation, man. Holy smokes.
yeah. So that was great though, because it was like, it was a lower risk for the client, a lower risk for me. And then that was a great way to kind of, we're on the same page. I am
Right.
new, you're getting a deal. And then, we practiced that. And then as I became like more experienced and started to gain a clientele, they start to slowly take you off of those specials. And then you start to be like a full on stylist charging certain prices.
Yeah, the normal rates. So when you got started, were you really interested in cutting? Were you more on the color side? Like what attracted you more? I know now you're doing more of the extensions, color, that whole thing. But where were you when you first started out? Did you gravitate to one thing or the other?
Yeah, I did. I liked cutting and I liked hairstyling. So I liked like doing updos, curling hair, and haircut.
Very cool. I love that. So you're there for, you said 6 years, is that right? 6.5 years. So at the end of this 6 year period, what's the next step? Like, where do you go from this? Is it opening your own salon, or
So then I went to one more salon.
okay?
Yeah.
So you hopped out of there, you go into this new space. Is that space local as well, or did you kind of go further out?
It was 30 minutes away from where I was working. Where I was working was like out towards like Perkiomenville. So I moved closer to the main line. Um, I also just want to say, since I have the opportunity, like I absolutely like look back at like Lords and Ladies, and it was like such a great experience, and it was like everything that I needed, and I'm just so grateful for every mentor that I had there. It was truly, truly something that I'm very grateful for. Um, I I just outgrew the area and it. So I wanted to go closer to the main line because I was like traveling to Philly every weekend, going out with my girlfriends,
Sure.
and I just wanted to be like closer. So I ended up moving to the city, and then I moved to the main line. Um, and then I lost about like I would say half of my clientele.
Oh wow,
Yeah, and then I just really went for it and rebuilt it there.
that's awesome. So you're at this second salon for how long then?
So I'm at the second salon for a year and a half.
Okay. So you make this transition due to growth, right? Which is probably the best excuse to go anywhere. It's because you're outgrowing something. I mean,
Yeah.
it's much better than like drama and like, oh, it's just not working out for me. It's, I've hit my ceiling. I need to go somewhere else to go even higher. So you get to this next salon, you're building your book, you're going after it. I'm assuming you're expanding your repertoire here at this point, right? Like, where do you get into the extension game?
Right before I left Lords and Ladies, I took a class for extensions. I always wanted to do extensions, which didn't offer it there. And they were just bringing it in right when I left. And I took the class, and then I was about to leave. Um, and I always wanted to do extensions. I've always been drawn to them. I used to do ceramics. So
Nice.
I am so into like sculpting and building and like 3D stuff. I just know that about myself. So I just did one model and I posted it. And then when I went to the new salon, I posted that on Instagram. And then we were able to do extensions at my next salon. And someone saw the model that I did. So then they were like, can I do it? So then I offered like a discounted rate. And then I would just post her. And then the next person that came in, a discounted rate until I felt like confident about it.
Right.
And then I just started posting them. So I was just like so passionate about it. And then it seriously just took off.
That's awesome. That's amazing. So, you're again, we call this the snowball effect, where you start with like small and then you kind of keep on adding and adding. And then it turns into this self-rolling kind of prophecy that you make for yourself of like, okay, there's no stopping this train now. We're going to just lean in, right? Which is incredible for you. So you're getting into the extension game at this new salon full on, it would seem like. You're there for a year and a half. At this point, are you hopping to another salon, or is this where you go to open up your own suite?
This is where I got to open up my own suite. So again, so grateful for the opportunity at the other salon. Like seriously, just every single salon I ever worked at, there was a reason to be there, and there was something so amazing to take away from it. So also this podcast is to help people understand like the shift from being in a salon to a suite. And I just want to say like that the salons and the teams and the environment was super crucial to me being able to go out on my own. So grateful for that. I rebuilt my clientele at the other salon. I like messaged 100 people a day on Instagram and
Jeez.
offered them 20% off and just told them I was starting over and that I'm experienced and, this is a great opportunity for you to come in with me. And that really took off. I also would like just walk up to
Really?
people in like Whole Foods or like wherever I wanted my ideal clientele. And
Yeah.
just it really took off. As at one point, Nick was like, "You need to stop telling people that you do hair. Like you're getting busy." Like, and I was like, "Okay." But it was fun, like networking, and so I built it, and I realized like I had the power in my hands to create something, and it gave me a lot of confidence. So it was scary to think about starting my own place, but I also felt confident because of the shift that I made from my old salon to the new salon, and I realized I was doing at that point because of all of the support I had from the salons. I was kind of then doing it on my own, all these next steps. So I was like, why don't I take this further?
Right. Why don't you do all that work for yourself, right? Rather than for the benefit potentially. And then again, not to say that you're against your old salons, but if you're going to do all this work, right? And you've kind of cracked the code of building a book on your own, which I think is the scariest part for so many people. And when they make that jump, right, it is, okay, am I going to start from zero, or am I going to try to take as many people with me, depending on your relationship with your salon and your contract agreement with your salon that may or may not be able to happen for you. So you've kind of gotten this dry run, let's call it, out of the way, right? For that first year and a half at this new salon, you're building your own book, you're creating new contacts with people, you're doing something that is extremely smart that I don't think a lot of people do enough, and that is go to the places that also serve your ideal client, right? And then meet people where they already are, and then find them there. And I love, we've talked in the past before, and I remember you telling us a story about how you would just go up to people in the grocery store at Whole Foods and be like, oh my gosh, I love your hair. Like, I'm actually a hairstylist. You should totally come in and we could have a ton of fun, like all that kind of stuff. That's an amazing, challenging, kind of a scary conversation to do the first few times, I'm sure. What gave you that idea? Or did it happen naturally the first time and it worked out?
What gave me the idea was my friend Cassie. We were out to lunch one day and she did that exact thing. And she's like, oh my God, I love your hair. Like, I'm a hairstylist. Like, you should come see me. Like, and the girl was like, oh my God, yeah. And then she ended up coming in and I was like, wow, that is so impressive. And I just saw her do it. And I was like, at the time I was kind of slow and I wanted more money and I wanted to make something of myself. And I was like, I guess I'm going to have to do that.
I love that. That's great. Okay, so you're about to make this transition. What kind of pushed you over the edge of making that final, like, cognizant, sign the dotted line kind of moment? I mean, obviously you're building your book, you're finding success at this new location in a new space that definitely has a clientele that is expanded from where you were. What's making you start to look outwards rather than just building your book within the salon?
Well, going back to when I was 15, I always wanted to own a salon. And I just felt like it was getting to the point where it was time. Like you said, I love that you said I cracked the code. And that's such a great way to put it. Like, I figured out the game. So
Yeah.
I want to go do my own game. So I wanted to own my own salon and I was like, I'm kind of like at an age where I feel like it'd be perfect time. So I reached out to one of my favorite people. His name's Travis Parker. And I messaged him and just basically said, I really want to start my own thing. Is there any way you would mentor me?
Oh,
I
wow.
looked up to him since he taught us at Lords and Ladies, and I was super young. And I just was very inspired by him and his craft and the way he presents himself. And he was kind enough to help me out. So we did a few phone calls and he gave me some prompts and I did some journaling and we I figured out how to make that happen. I also have another coach that I used to as well too.
Again, this is also something you're very good at doing, is finding the people to help you out along the way rather than thinking you're in it by yourself, which is hugely important. I feel like so many people feel like they're on their own because it is called going out on your own, but that doesn't mean you can't have a support network, right?
Exactly.
So a mentor and a coach is a great way to do it. I mean, if they're there for the right reasons and they have the actual experience that you need, that's an incredible team to have, right? Because a lot of people have zero or just their, significant other potentially, right, to lean on.
Yeah, yeah. I actually learned that from Tony Robbins. He said if you get a coach, you can speed up your progress by like 5 years because they will take you through all the mistakes they made and you won't make them.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, very accurate.
Yeah.
Also, it's so good. So out of these coaching and mentoring sessions, I'm gonna, and if you're comfortable, I would love to hear like what are like 2 or 3 things that they really gave you an insight into that changed the way that you perceived something, or helped you make up your mind on how you were going to go about taking this next step. Anything that was extra valuable to you that you remember from those conversations?
Yeah. So Travis sent me a bunch of prompts about kind of like digging into like what I want my salon to look like, what I want to feel, why do I want to do it? Like what's my level of responsibility with myself? And like that day, I just remember I was like at the pool and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go upstairs and do those prompts. And I like sat in my room and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like actually kind of hard because it's like weird. Like when you like choose to like think bigger, it feels like you need to like grab the wall and be like, I feel kind of crazy. Like, what am I thinking? Like, I just feel like ungrounded. Like, and then you just start like being a little almost like sabotagey and you're just like, well, I'll just go back to my comfort zone and all that. So I think what was really cool about those prompts is like really sat there for like an hour and a half and I actually did them. And I feel like a lot of shifts happened. Um, so
For sure.
I guess I don't remember exactly what the prompts were, but I just think like being reflective and
Actually
right.
thinking through the whole process, that whole thing, versus just saying, I'm going to go do it and we'll see what happens. It's more of okay, let's go through this process of like, okay, if this does happen, what are these steps that I need to start taking or thinking about ahead of time? So that way it doesn't just hit you in the face, right?
Yeah,
And then you're just
exactly.
sitting there.
Yeah, so, like, that part was, like, mindset. Yeah, like, you gotta get your mindset right. You gotta have a level of accountability. You have to be ready to sacrifice certain things, and just kinda, like, sitting there and, like, planning all of that stuff out about, like, your new life is, I feel like,
Right.
part of the equation, and then, obviously, there's, like, the physical, like, "I need to make this happen" aspect as well.
For sure. For sure. Um, okay. So you're going through, you're getting mentored, you hire a coach, you go through this whole part, and then it's time to leave the salon nest, if you will, and go out on your own and actually execute your vision on what your salon is going to look like, what you're going to offer, what you're going to do. During this process, right, you find a salon suite fairly local to where you are, at least to the main line in King of Prussia, I'm assuming, because you've been at this salon the entire time, yeah? In King of Prussia?
Yes, yep.
Okay, cool. So you kind of take that not little next step, that huge next step, sign the dotted line. You get there, the door's locked, you put your key in, you turn, and then you open it. What is going through your mind? It's empty, there's nothing on the walls, there's a chair, a sink, right? And that's about it. What is going through your mind right now? What are you thinking?
That's such a good question. Um, I don't know. I just kinda, like, came in here and I was like, "Alright." this is it. Like, this is going to be the place. I think where I had more of a profound like experience is when I like signed the paper and said owner and then put my name underneath it. I felt like kind of fake. It didn't feel like what you like visualize in your head or like, when you're little, you're like, oh, like it's gonna be so cool. And it's just a moment. It's just another thing you do. Uh, It
It's
just
just like,
felt,
wait, anyone can just write this down and
yeah,
sign. So wait, is this a big deal or is it not a big deal? It's like I didn't have to get a certification to write my name down here as owner. I just had to
yeah,
do it.
yeah,
I get that. As a business owner myself, right? I just like, I guess I'm a CEO now. Here we
yeah,
go, right? Sure,
yeah.
why not? Uh, so you signed this document, right? I'm assuming that you had to take some time between when you sign and when you move in. Is there anything in that time frame that you're like prepping consistently or like you're really digging into? Or did you quit the old salon before you signed or did you sign first and then quit? Like how did that process work?
So I met up with my old salon owner, and we met up for like coffee, and I told her what was going down. I gave her 2 weeks notice. Yeah, I honestly would have told them sooner. I feel like also if I knew how it was going to go, I would have told them even sooner, but I almost felt like I could have told them sooner, but I just kind of like wasn't sure. So I just wanted to play it safe. So I gave them 2 weeks to
Yeah,
be respectful. And we met up for coffee and I told her, and she was like just so supportive and so understanding and told me I could stay at the salon for 2 weeks.
that's awesome. Okay, so did you then bring people over in your book to start, or did you kind of let everyone come to you? You didn't do any like poaching, if you will, or how did that work for you
Oh
and
no, I
your
reached out to everyone.
good? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, please don't be that person. Like
No, no,
you've
no.
worked so hard to get them, right?
I actually called everyone. So I was very excited. I have a relationship with everyone. So I called everyone. I told them it was super exciting. I sent them all the information.
How many, if you could roughly estimate, how many people came over then from your old list? Like what percentage?
Oh my gosh, percentage, probably like 95%.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's very telling for not only the service level that you provide, but the personal connection that you create with the people that are in your chair. Because that usually you see like, 60, 70, maybe 80 in some cases. 95 is pretty spectacular. So you're calling everyone. So you have now, would you say you have a full book right away since you have 95% coming over? Or is it like, okay, now I have more room because I don't have to play by their schedule anymore. I can just play by mine.
I definitely had a full book. I was really busy. But the thing was, I was scared. I was in scarcity mode. I was like, I got to do whatever I can to keep this thing afloat. And I think if I was in more of an abundant mindset, which you're not when you start a place, like you're just not. But if I was in a more abundant mindset, I would have just stayed with my clientele that I had and everything would have been great. Honestly, it would have been amazing. But instead, I took on a bunch of new people as well because I was also posting every single day because again, just so scared, like, please just
Yeah.
keep me going.
Yeah.
And so then I got even busier and I was here like I mean, I was just here so much. And then like 3 months in, I was like, I need to figure out how to like have a life and organize all this and also stay afloat.
Right. So how did that transition work for you then? What did you decide to do? Was it more of like a pricing thing? You're like, I'll just adjust my prices and let what happens? Or did you have to like select people to kind of train out of your book?
I did raise my prices.
Mhm.
So I mean, I don't know if a bunch of people really left or like cleared way in that sense because I don't really like to like raise them to a point that's
Yeah,
I don't know.
prohibitive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so I just started being better with my boundaries and just really committing to the days I'm here working, and then the other days just being like, I unfortunately can't take it because sometimes I used to go out of my way for people. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, it was just kind of putting me in a place where I wasn't able to take care of myself.
Right. Because you're just worried about everybody else, right? And then
Yeah.
you're the last one on the list, which is never fun, especially when you're doing all of the things,
Yes.
right? I
Yes.
mean, you are the lead service provider, you're the marketer, you're the accountant, you're all the things. You order inventory, I'm assuming. And speaking of all those processes, right? Like when you jump into your salon, what do you think was harder than you thought it was going to be when you started versus maybe what was easier than you thought it was going to be as you were starting your thing? Because obviously when you go into something and you don't know anything about it, you're like, everything is going to be so hard. And some of it is, but some of it's not. So I was
Yeah.
just interested in your specific experience. What did you find overly difficult versus like, actually, this was not a big deal. And I'm
Yeah.
very thankful for that.
Okay, that's a good question. So like ordering inventory and stuff like that, I was like really nervous about it, and it's just like really easy. Um, it always seemed like such a big deal. Like all the salons, like these huge packages would come in, and you're like, oh my god, that's so much, and like it was just a lot. It's a lot easier than I thought. Again, like the hardest thing is just like my mindset. Like I was underprepared for just the level of obsession I was gonna have, and
Sure.
how to slowly eventually turn that into, like, a lifestyle versus, like, it's what I'm thinking about all the time.
Right. Oh, I get it. Wake up first thing in the morning. It's what do I have to do today? Or how did I make this better? Or why am I dreaming about work? Please just give me a minute, right? Give me a minute
Yeah,
to myself. I
yeah,
just need something that's not work related in my brain.
yeah, yeah. And with that said, like, the obsession's, like, fun. It was great. I loved it, like, I love it, but, like, I think I shared on my Instagram that I used to have an eating disorder, so, like, anytime, like, a level of obsession comes in, like, really, really hot, I just try to make sure that I manage it properly.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's super crucial. Again, as you said before, right? Like not getting lost in the operating of this business to the point where you're the last person that you're taking care of, right? I
Yeah.
think is super important.
Yeah.
Um, so you're kind of going through all of these ups and downs and hardships and successes that come with opening your own business, your own salon. You have a pretty full book. You know, as someone who's probably starting out there right now and they don't have a full book, but they're ready to move on and they're running their current salon right now and they're hitting a plateau of maybe not being able to find the new invigorated life force that they need to kind of like push themselves to the next level. You seem to continuously find very fun, very interesting ways to not only promote your services, but then also promote yourself and the type of lifestyle that you like to lead. And you've obviously had a full book this entire time, it would appear. Um, what point of advice would you give to folks that maybe are hitting a plateau or feeling like they're starting to stagnate, maybe a little bit? I mean, you've seemed to find ways to reinvent yourself, as I said. I just wonder if you have any points of advice for folks to like reinvigorate should they
Yeah,
need it.
absolutely. I'm gonna break that into like two parts. I do want to just say, because I feel like sometimes when I listen to things, it sounds so like perfect, like, all the success and whatnot. But the first like 3 to 4 years of my career were extremely hard. Like I always felt like I was super talented, and I always felt like I was gonna do big things. However, it was not happening fast. And it really is like you have to put your time in kind of thing. I used to go to like workout classes at 5 a.m. just to try and get like my energy hot. So like the one client that I had, I would give them like my all and try to keep them. So I just want to say for people that are like starting out and building that, like it doesn't come overnight, and I feel like the passion has to carry you through, and you have to know that's going to take some time. Um,
It's
and
great
then
advice.
yeah, thanks. And then to like reinvent myself, I'm so big on like education. I kind of went a little like almost like I would say like 8 months without education when I first started because I wasn't thinking about it, and I started to just feel like really stale here. So I started to pour back into my education, and I just am feeling so good, so excited about the future.
That's great. So do you give yourself goals within that education structure? Like, do you take like X number of classes a year, or is there like a budget that you set for yourself for the year? How do you work it?
I don't really have an organization about it. It's more of like I don't yeah, I'm more just it's inspired action.
Sure. I mean, that's great. You don't have to, right? I'm just
Yeah.
curious if you decided to schedule it out for yourself, or you're just like, you know what? When I see something that comes up, I'm just going to default to doing it versus putting it off.
Yeah, and there's so much education out there that, like, I feel like on Instagram and everything, there's constantly options, and these people are so inspiring, and it's easy to, like, be inspired, so it happens often.
I get that. So I want to talk about, your salon today, your life today. So how do you operate your salon on the day to day now? What does your typical day look like that you're working, right? So you work, well, first let's start. How many days a week do you work now?
I work 4 days a week.
It's great. Amazing life balance right there, or at least in theory.
Yeah.
So we've kind of talked about it. Takes over
Yeah.
the off days as well sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So what does a typical work day look like for you then?
I wake up, I make sure I eat breakfast, I drink my tea. I normally work for, like, I don't know, it depends on the day, but, like, 8 to 10 hours. I'm not sure if this is answering the questions, but these are the highlights of my day. I make sure I have a healthy lunch, and I space out my clients and look for where I'm gonna get a good amount of time to get lunch in. And then I have normally, like, 3 to 4 appointments a day.
So do you schedule everyone yourself? Do you have someone help out with that with you? Or how do you work that whole scheduling portion? Because obviously you're not like taking in a bunch of new clients, right? You're not taking on, I don't think any right now, are you? Because you're full.
I'm taking on, like, a few extension clients right now.
So then when they go and they come to book with you, are you handling all of that yourself in addition to performing all the service? Or do you have a team or a support network with you to kind of do that?
I handle the booking myself, and even if it was to be online, it's just hard because I'm so particular about my timing with every individual because everyone needs different kinds of attention, so that's not something I'm ready to outsource.
That's totally good. Do you outsource any of the work that you do right now, from like bookkeeping to ordering to whatever?
Yeah, so I outsource right now. My accountant takes care of everything for me, numbers wise. I track my numbers, and I'm very much like on top of that to make sure I'm a profitable business to be healthy for my guests and everything. But she takes care of all of that, and she's just absolutely incredible. She explains things to me when I go through, like, changes psychologically through you know having all of these changes. She is able to support me. That's amazing. And then I also have a cleaning service come in. And then this is so embarrassing, but I'm going to share.
Sure.
I wanted to get a laundry cleaning service for myself at home because it's something that, like, I'm happy to outsource that I can let go of control of. Because I'm starting to think of, like, where can I let go of control?
Right.
So I was looking into laundry services, and, like, I was just thinking about how good my mom used to do my laundry. And I made a deal with her, and I drop my laundry off at the house. She does my laundry, and then she gets a credit for to come get her hair done.
I love that so much. That's so great. And it's definitely one of those where like, she's your mom. She probably would do it anyway, right?
Yeah.
But there's got to be some bartering system, I guess, at
No, I
least on
need to do that
paper.
to not feel like I'm a child.
Yeah. That's so funny. I mean, listen, more power to you, especially if she's local enough where that's convenient. I mean, why not? Right?
Yeah.
Use it if you got it.
And there is nothing like your mom, like, folding your clothes and, like, putting them on. I mean, it's like real love.
It is real love. It's definitely a harken back to that time where you're like, yeah, I'm taken care of. This feels great. Right.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I love that so much. Okay. So you have an accountant, you have a cleaning service, and you do laundry services. We'll call that. That's great. That's amazing. So now that you kind of are starting to find areas, as you mentioned, to release some control, right? So you can focus on the things that you really want to focus on. What is the plan going forward for Lovi? Are you planning on expanding? Do you want to just kind of run it this way for a little while because you kind of hit a good sweet spot? What's next for you? What's the next step once you've hit this full book? You have a support network with you. You seem like you're working 4 days a week. In theory, would allude to some good work-life balance there. But what's next?
What is next for me is I am going to be moving my suite over somewhere else. So I'm gonna be reaching out to my clients soon. It has sunlight, so I'm super excited about that.
Great. Love that.
And then I'm gonna stick with the suite for a little bit because my fiance and I, what has been so great about the suites is there's obviously more cash flow as a business owner. So I'm able to make more investments heavily, which is super exciting because I now have the opportunity to have a life and also make investments for my future and my family, which is extremely important to me. So I also like
Oh,
thank
yeah.
my guests and my clients for giving me the opportunity to do that. It's like an extremely huge thing in my life that's makes me feel so secure and it makes me feel like I can perform at an optimal level. So we just bought our first investment property last year, and then we're saving up for our next one, and we're also getting married.
Nice. Congratulations. That's huge.
Thanks.
I recently got married about a
Oh,
month ago. So I'm with you there. It's a very exciting time. But no, congratulations. That's awesome. I mean, not only an investment property, but obviously you're investing in your relationship now too, which is huge.
yes.
And it seems like y'all have been together for a long time and very happy, at least from the outside, what you can see from Instagram. Again, you share a good amount, which is again, I find to be inspiring and helpful for a lot of other people that can have a life and do all the things that they want to do. And you do a great job of showcasing that. So congratulations. You deserve it.
Thank you.
It's amazing. All right. So you're moving, you're adding sunlight to part of your repertoire, which sounds great. Uh, um, so from here, right? Let's just say you get to a new space. Is this new space bigger? Are you gonna is the goal to end up with an apprentice that can start providing services along with you, or are you more of the like, I'm just gonna run my thing until I'm through with it and then I'm good? Like, what's the mentality for you?
Yeah. So the space is the same size. I'm doing a lot of education right now to do a lot of digging and self-reflecting as to like what I want to do next. I have like three ideas that are floating around in my mind. So I'm just like not at a point where I can like share any some stable information about that. It's more like I'm playing around with different ideas in my head and exploring and giving myself the time to do that. I also have something exciting that I'm pretty sure we're going to implement next year. I just have to meet with my accountant. Um, so it's just a little bit giving back to the community in a bigger way. And that's something that I'll probably be posting soon. So I'm super excited about that.
You've mentioned a lot, at least in your social media presences, about giving back or making sure that you're donating along with you know not only do you bring money in, but you give money out to the people that need it, which I find very inspiring. You don't find a lot of one woman shows that feel comfortable enough to do that right away, right? I mean, obviously you're no new kid on the block here at this point, right? You've definitely been able to financially support yourself, your family, and your business to the point where you feel now that you can give back. Um, how important is that part to you in terms of how you've designed your salon and your business? Is it integral? Was it kind of like oh yeah, once we hit this marker, then we'll start to give back? And what does that look like to you? How do you decide what to give back to as well?
Yeah. So a lot of my success started really taking off when I started to give back to the community. I sometimes would just go and if I found someone who gave me like spiritual nourishment, I would give them like an extra $100 or something like that. And I felt like I'm very like spiritual and into energy. So I felt like it like opened my abundance flow. So I felt like if I put out, I'm going to get back and then I'm going to be able to, put out again. And then
Yeah,
I get back and you're in like this beautiful flow that's really important. So when I opened my salon, I knew that I wanted to do something like that. I also wanted to separate myself from everyone else in a way that when you buy products from me, you can get them anywhere else. And if you get them with me, I just want to let you know I'm going to do good by you and the community. And in addition to that, I knew that I wanted to give back to some charity at the end of the year. So I ran into a friend who works for Make-A-Wish Foundation, and it was, like, perfect timing. It was that, like, inspired action. She showed up,
yeah,
I was ready, and we made, a deal at the end of the year. I will send that over to Make-A-Wish.
that's great. And is this the first year that you're doing something like that, or have you done that in the past?
This is the first year that I'm doing something like that through the salon. Other than that, it was just me personally, like giving my money to people that I felt like needed to know that they're special.
Yeah, commend you on that part because, while I'm a big actor in the community, or at least I try to be through my wife and I, at least try to give back as much as we can. And it is very, very fulfilling. And it does also give you some perspective, right? It is a good reminder that not everyone can be as fortunate as you are, right, in your current situation. And you have the ability to affect positive change beyond just what your services do for your clients, right? I think that's also hugely impactful for not only who you're helping, but for yourself as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like I read something once and it really resonated with me that like when you're rich, if you think you're going to give back when you're actually rich, like you probably won't because you don't build up the muscle to know what it feels like to let go of something without anything in return. So I'm
Right.
just trying to build up that muscle. Like I have big dreams for myself and I want to get to a place where I can give back times 10, but I'm not
Sure.
going to get there by not acting on it now.
That's an amazing mindset to have. And I love that so much. All right. We're almost at time here, but I want to ask you one final question for all those that are thinking about starting their own salon. Obviously, you've found success in the way that you've done it, but if you have a couple pieces of information, I'm going to limit to you to three at most, one at the minimum. You're talking to someone who's thinking about doing it. What are you telling them? What is your main pieces of advice you're going to give to someone who's like thinking or teetering on that decision point of like, I kind of want to do my own salon, but I'm not sure. What are you saying to them?
I am going to say to them why. I'll figure out their why and their passion behind it. See if that's something that's going to be able to like carry you through. I think passion is really important because things are going to get tough and hard no matter what. So making sure you have that passion to push you through the hard times. Then I'm going to say, what are your numbers like? Let's break them down. Like if you really want to get into it, like I'll tell you if you'll be able to support yourself on your own. Let's talk about all the expenses you're going to incur and how much you're bringing in now and if it's actually physically possible for you not to go into like, net.
Debt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, and then I I guess those are my biggest things. Like just making sure that you have like the cash flow to do it. I would never want to send if someone came to me, I would never want to send them off with like information that could put them in a place that they're not ready for when they could use support from other people to then get to that place eventually down the line.
Right. So drive and the numbers to do it. Those
Yes.
are the two. It's not bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good set, I would say. Well, Natalie Jones, thank you so much for spending time with us today and sharing your story and sharing some amazing bits of wisdom that you've been able to accrue over these years. And, it's always a pleasure talking to you. You're always so bright and warm and fun to talk to. So I really appreciate your time and being able to share it not just with us, but everyone listening as well, following along with the Salon Hub side of things. So best of luck at your new location and your future expansion and whatever that may look like. And again, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate that you reached out to chat and talk about these things. It's exciting to share, and I really appreciate our time today too.
Well, hopefully we can have you back on some other time to figure out how your transition went and how everything is going to be going for you going forward. Again, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.